Salutations! I'm Bubbleum and welcome to my first knowledge video. This video is obviously uploaded in a timely manner compared to my last videos, so there is absolutely nothing to talk about here. Anyway, I really do hate long introductions, so I'll just give my final thoughts and comments at the end of the video. So, let's talk about why you're ugly. Well, clearly, you're not me, first of all. Okay, so let's talk about why you're ugly. Have you been on a journey of self-love, loving yourself a little more day by day? Well, throw all of that shit out the window because most likely you're ugly. But why are you ugly? Well, it's a simple but complicated answer at the same time. You're ugly because of beauty standards. You'll never be a stereotypical model because of beauty standards. You'll always see yourself as too fat, too skinny, too short, too tall, too something because of beauty standards. But what are beauty standards? Well, that answer can vary widely depending on what country you're in, so I'm going to focus more on American/Western beauty standards. So generally, when we think of a beautiful woman, we think of someone with white to tan skin, long voluminous hair, straight pointed nose, full plump lips, and a toned slender body. And for men, we generally think of someone with that same tan to white skin, but with very defined muscles, strong facial bone structure, tall, and with a straight nose. But with both men and women, more so women, beauty standards phase in and out fast, constantly redefining what our version of beauty is. Like even in South Korea, it was a very common trend to get forehead implants a few years back for a rounder forehead. And here in the US, where big, bold eyebrows were all the hype, and now it's just a dead trend from 2016. But the general guidelines for what is beautiful is the same: the hair, the skin, the body. But going back to beauty standards constantly changing, it does that for women, especially the ideal body image. Like in the 2000s to early 2010s, it was in to be extremely thin, with thigh gaps being a goal for many. Now in the 2020s, it seems like the curvier Instagram model bodies are in. Male standards are more based on their ability to fit their domestic role as a protector or as a husband. That's why for male beauty standards, they're more focused on big toned body structures, defined muscles, lots more physical, right in your face attributes that are easy to define. The easier it is to see a male's muscle definition, the easier they fit into that role of domesticity. Nevertheless, it doesn't overshadow the thin, toned body that has been a goal for many since like the 80s health craze. Okay, so now we know what beauty standards in the US are, but what are these seemingly unachievable standards coming from? Well, it's an easy answer: colonization. Colonization fucked over the whole world and it's still fucking you up today. Pay attention in history class, everyone. You're ugly today because some white people from Europe discovered the Americas and established civilization. And for a quick history lesson, let's just do a quick overview of colonization and its specific impact on Western beauty standards. So, during the era of colonization, the European colonizers set a clear social hierarchy, with colonizer rich white men on the top, followed by regular colonizer men, followed by colonizer white women, and then everyone else. So the white men at the top of the hierarchy dictated and still dictate society. Especially if you came from wealth or a good background, you get to decide how things get done in your community. But let's go back to the hierarchy. See that everyone else at the very bottom, well, that is quite literally everyone else. From Native Americans to Native Mexicans to Black people to Asians, it's everyone else. With the US being colonized by the British, those of Anglo-Saxon descent were the leaders of society. They owned the land, the government, the churches, slaves, everything in between. If you were a Native American, or any racial minority, you had to choose to either submit to the colonizers or get killed in a genocide or by disease. Okay, so what does all of this have to do with why you're ugly? Well, wouldn't you want to have a say in society? Wouldn't you want your own social mobility? The ability to own land, to go to school, to vote, to have a voice in the vast country that you now have to share? Well, just couldn't. The colonizers truly believed that white people were the superior race and should therefore control civilization. We can even see these ideas years later in the pseudoscience of eugenics. So, if you couldn't have any social mobility in society because of your race, then maybe there's another way. What if you just looked like them? Maybe if you looked enough like the ruling class, they may listen to you. What if you had the same fair skin, the colored eyes? Would they maybe not greet your people with violence? Well, regardless of what the answer actually is, it was worth something. Everyone had to try and look like their white colonizers. If I shield my baby from the sun, she may have fairer skin and be a person of interest to the white man, and other similar sentiments started to manifest in minority communities. Parents had to make their children look as white as possible just for the possibility of future social mobility. And you know what? Those sentiments never went away. Even today, white people are still at the top of society. That's why white privilege is a thing. White male CEOs and directors are showing us the perfect woman or the hottest guy on our magazine covers. Even for white people, these beauty standards have evolved so much that it's past just a skin tone. Many can't achieve the idealized version of what they're supposed to look like. Remember those beauty standards I listed earlier? The hair, the nose, the body? Well, you'll never get it. You just won't. You can work on your body for years, just have the perfect, slim, toned body, only for curvy women and implants to be ideal again, like as soon as you finish. Even shifting away from direct beauty standards for a moment, what about just beauty in general? Like many people see nature as beautiful. Is that suddenly the fault of the white man too? You cannot compare yourself to the beauty of the moon, because there's no beauty standard of the moon. It's just the moon. It's beautiful, it's celestial and complex and bright and bold. The moon will never not be the moon. But for people, it's different. The beauty we see, the beauty we want to be, is manufactured. In all forms of media, digital and traditional, we are told what we need to be. Boys are told it's undesirable to be skinny, girls are told it's undesirable to be fat. But we synonymize the want to be desired with wanting to be beautiful. We are determining our self worth with how slim our nose is and the measurements of our waist. But the thing is, many people don't see it that way. That's why we're stuck in the cycle. I've heard over and over again that some men just prefer white women or Asian women. I've heard repeatedly that some women just prefer tall white guys. But if you've been told that this type of person is beautiful from birth, it kind of makes sense. You've been told by your dolls and action figures, this is what you're supposed to look like. You've been told by commercials, this is what a face made for TV looks like. You've been told you need to look like this for your crush to notice you. And we all want it too. No matter how good you feel about yourself, you know you had to come to terms with and deconstruct your version of manufactured beauty to perspective beauty. But can beauty truly be in the eye of the beholder if the eye is looking through a corrective lens? Even for people that acknowledge that their idea of beauty is manipulated, we still want to be beautiful. We want to have everyone's head turn as we walk by. We want to hear the hushed whispers of, "Did you see them?" as we walk past. We want that experience, and we know we want it. But I have something to share. You're ugly. You're not going to ever fit in this mold of highly specified, ever morphing idea of beauty. And that's okay. You don't need to be beautiful to be respected and acknowledged. You don't need to spend hours being nauseated at the gym to be wanted. You don't need to fit the standard that was never made to size. You are deserving of a voice, respect, acknowledgement, a partner, with or without these manufactured beauty standards. We may be ugly in terms of what we're supposed to look like, but we're beautiful in every way that we're not supposed to be. So let's deconstruct our standards of beauty together. Instead of trying to convince ourselves that we are traditionally beautiful, we can just come to terms that we are worthy. While traditional beauty standards have always been prevalent in society, we're moving forward. We're seeing different sized mannequins, more makeup shades, more representation. We still have a long way to go, but we're being heard. We're being heard that we're not going to deprecate our self worth because brands want to keep a certain face. We are going to accept being a point of mockery for a lie of beauty that just keeps being repeated to us. Because if it's that easy to manufacture the idea of beauty, then it's just as easy to reconstruct it too. So let's get with the times and look at ourselves. But maybe we can put beauty back in the naked eye of the beholder. Thank you. And that was my first knowledge video. Okay, just thank you everyone. I'm very happy that I'm just making content and that I have views in the double digits. That's like a small classroom of people like actively watching my content. That's just wild to me. This video hits pretty close to home to me because growing up, I was always bullied at school and at home for my looks appearance. I could never get it right no matter what I did, especially with my hair. I have curly hair, and when I straightened it, my mom said it wasn't straight enough, it was frizzy. If I left it curly, then I just got made fun of at school for having nappy hair. It all kind of spiraled into my self-image issues today, which is kind of what inspired for me to make this video. Like, yeah, I'm not a model, but I need to come to terms with that. I need to come to terms that what I've been told is beautiful for so long is just manufactured. People just decided, you know what, this is beautiful and everyone should look like this, so if it's not you, it sucks. My first knowledge video was actually going to be a video deconstructing the myth of reverse racism and explaining white privilege. Uh, but I don't know. Like, it's a topic I would love to talk about and help me cultivate an audience that has the same ideas and moral compass as me. But I don't know. When I was like writing the script for that video, it just felt so contrived and so pretentious. Like, I said everything I wanted to say, but I just couldn't say it right. So I made this video. It's kind of timeless. Like, it would be relevant today and 10 years from now, maybe even 30 years from now. I don't know. YouTube is still a thing. Maybe I'll just have to put that to the test. And as for the timeliness of this video, um, yeah, I've kind of, well, first of all, I quit my last job and I've been applying to jobs as if it was a full-time job. I do have a job starting in January, so that's not a point of stress for me. But I'm also starting university. So I was working with orientation, getting my classes picked out, working with an advisor, all that stuff. And finals in general for my associate's degree. And yeah, I've just been very busy. And the fact that I started over on this video like twice really does not help. But it's finally here, and I couldn't be happier with the way it turned out. So just thank you for watching. I hope you liked watching this video as much as I liked making it, and happy holidays!